Welcome, have a nice day. Today is Saturday, 19th of October 2024. From the Indian history point of view, 19th of October in Indian history is celebrated as the birth anniversary of the following personalities, including the most important one, Mata Gini Hazara, 19 October 1870, up to 29th of September 1942, was an Indian revolutionary who participated in the Indian independence movement until she was shot dead by the British Indian police during the protest march. So remember the name Matangini Hazara. Starting the newspaper analysis with the newspaper The Hindu states that no timeline on Ukraine war. Says Putin appreciates Prime Minister Modi's concern and endorses a description of BRICS. Russian President Vladimir Putin chairs the meeting with the heads of the leading media outlets from the BRICS countries at Novogorodyovo state residence outside of Moscow, Russia on October 18, 2024. Prime Minister Modi is due to visit Russia's Kazan to attend the summit on October 22-23. Russian President Vladimir Putin on Friday, October 18, 2024, said it is difficult to specify a timeline for ending the prolonged war in Ukraine, but asserted that his country will win, as he appreciated Prime Minister Narendra Modi's concern over the situation. Days ahead of the 16th BRICS summit to be hosted by him, Mr. Putin also endorsed Mr. Modi's description of the grouping, saying the Indian leader had aptly noted that it was not an anti-Western one but a non-Western one. Rebalancing of India's great power relation. Mr. Modi had told Putin on the phone on August 27 that he backed on an early peaceful resolution to the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Days after he held the talks with the Ukraine President Volodymyr Zelensky in Kyiv, he had also visited Moscow in the July month. In his remarks on September 5, Mr. Putin had identified India, China, and Brazil as the countries with which Russia was in touch to resolve the Ukraine conflict. Mr. Putin on Friday said setting a timeline on ending the war will be counterproductive. Russia-Ukraine conflict erupted in February 22nd. He blamed the United States and NATO for pushing Russia into the war and said his country will prevail. Lebanese envoy flagged Israel's disregard for United Nations calls on India to put more pressure. Lebanon's ambassador to India, Rabi Narsh, addressing a press conference at the Lebanese embassy in New Delhi on October 18, 2024. We call upon the Indian government to put more pressure on Netanyahu himself and his government to end this war, indicating as it has strong presence globally and since India is a peace-loving country and is investing in peace. Lebanon's ambassador to India, Rabi Narsh, said the deliberate attack on United Nations Interior Force or in Lebanon, UNIFIL, is not new, and this is a pattern used by Israel to intimidate the United Nations. Lebanon's ambassador to India, Rabi Narsh, as said on Friday, October 18, 2024. Mr. Narsh said that this is the idea of an aggressive nature of Israel. He called upon India to put more pressure on the Israel and its Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. We call upon them to put more pressure on Netanyahu himself and his government to end this war. India can, as it has strong presence globally, and since India is a peace-loving country once again and is investing in peace, the envoy said while speaking to reporters. Again and again, Israel has been disregarded. United Nations and its agencies. The United Nations Secretary General is put on blacklist from entering Israel. This can give you the idea of the aggressive nature of Israel. They are not willing to listen to any voice of trust or criticism. The envoy replied to a question from the Hindu on the recent attacks on UNIFIL. They are under threat. This situation is serious. Gaza Civil Defense Agency says Israel strike kills 33 in Jabalia. A relative carries the shelved body of 10-year-old Sama al-Debs, who was killed during an Israeli army operation in the Jabalia refugee camp in the central Gaza Strip ahead of her funeral. On October 18, 2024, amid the continuing war between the Israel and the Palestinian militant group Hamas. On October 6, Israel launched a new offensive in northern Gaza, including around Jabalia, saying it was targeting Hamas fighters. Gaza's civil defense agency said on an Israeli strike on Friday, October 18, 2024 night near Jabalia in the territory of North killed 33 people at the refugee camp. Agency spokesman Mahmoud Basel announced 33 deaths and dozens of wounded, while a medical source at the Al-Awda hospital told AFP earlier that it had registered 22 dead and 70 wounded after the strike on the Tal al-Zatar camp for Palestinian refugees. Now going towards the Hindustan Times newspaper, stated that United States indicts ex-raw man over the plot to kill the Panun. Nikhil Gupta, accused by United States federal prosecutors of plotting with an Indian government official to kill the Gurpatwan Singh Panun, a United States resident who advocated for a sovereign sixth state in the northern India, appears in a federal court after his extradition from the Czech Republic in New York City on June 17, 2024 in this courtroom sketch. Washington. The United States Department of Justice (DOJ) has named and charged a then-serving and now former Government of India official for directing the plot or to assassinate Gurpatwan Singh Panun, an American citizen that India has designated as a terrorist, in New York in June 2023. The 18-page indictment unsealed on Thursday evening Eastern Time, Friday IST, charges former research and analysis wing RA staffer Vikash Yadav on 3 counts of murder for hire, conspiracy to commit a murder for hire, and money laundering. The Federal Bureau of Investigation (FBI) has issued a wanted poster with the 3 photographs of Yadav that offers more biographical details of the Haryana-born 39-year-old former officer who also went by the name of Amanat during the operation. The early warning system of the mark aimed air quality index spike and anti-smog gun being used to spray water droplets to curb air pollution in New Delhi on Friday. On the 4 of the last 6 days till Friday, Delhi's air quality early warning system (EWS), which utilizes different satellites data sets and is based on the state-of-the-art atmospheric chemistry transport models, has made incorrect predictions. On October 13, for the instance, it predicted the air would be at a moderate level, but the air quality index (AQI) was well into the poor the following day. When it forecasted an improvement, it becomes worse, with the air quality index deteriorating further into the poor zone. In 2023, when the city had its first air pollution day, the air quality index shot past the demanding 400 figure on November 2nd. The EWS missed the signs by a wide 6-day margin. At the time, it predicted the air quality index would not slip into the deep red zone till November 9. Going towards the economy of the country from the business point of view, internet rate cut at this stage will be a very premature, very risky, Reserve Bank of India Governor Das. Earlier this month, the Reserve Bank of India's newly reconstituted Monetary Policy Committee (MPC) left the repo rate, the key policy rate, steady at 6.5% for 20 consecutive months, and as inflation continues to remain a sore point. RBI Governor Shaktikanta Das. Usurious are praising by NBFC's apps why the Reserve Bank of India acted against 4 entities and how borrowers end up paying excessive interest. The main complaint against the 4 lenders is about exorbitant internet interest charges levied by them. The Reserve Bank of India has now decided to create a public repository of digital lending apps deployed by the regulated entities in order to aid the customers in verifying the claims of DLA's association with regulated entities like banks and avoid illegal apps. Middle East crisis amid supply chain stress, India looks to augment shipping fleet, container manufacturing. The World Bank Trade Watch report released earlier this week stated that the global supply chain stress remained elevated through the September month of 2024, Amid disruptions in the West Asia, the Mediterranean, and Asia, as shipping rates stayed more than twice as high as a year ago. The World Bank Global Supply Chain Stress Index, which tracks delays shipping capacity, jumped to 1.4 million 20-foot equivalent units in September month of 2024, up 72% from October 2023. Going towards the world news, including residents flee Kupiansk and Pokrovsk as Russian forces advance. Trump says he would impose tariffs on China if it invaded Taiwan. Trump says Hamas leader's death is path to peace in Gaza. Senior official in Pokrovsk, eastern Ukraine, urges evacuation amid growing Russian threat. Israel expands military operations in the North Gaza. Biden urges continued Western support for Ukraine as the United States election nears. Philippine Vice President Sara Duterte threatens to throw a Mercosur's remain into the sea. United Kingdom Foreign Secretary Lamy urges China to reconsider support for Russia. North Korean troops in Russia to fly to Ukraine, says South Korea. Hamas confirms Chief Yahya Sinwar's death, says hostages won't be freed until Israel stops Gaza aggression. Sees opportunity to change direction. United States to Israel. Hamas is pulled after Yahya Sinwar's death. UNIFIL reports deliberate Israel attacks civilians stranded in Lebanon's war zone. Alone in the dark, the nightmare of Bangladesh's secret underground prison. Going towards science and tech, we have food packing should have labels on the front about health impact, says World Health Organization. The United Nations Health Body's first ever draft guidelines on this issue recommend that the governments implement interpretive labels that include nutritional information and some explanation of what that means about the healthiness of a product. Packaged foods and drinks should have easy to read nutritional information on the front of the products to help consumers make healthier choices, according to the first ever World Health Organization draft guidelines that stopped short of recommending harsher warning labels. Increased consumption of processed foods high in salt, sugar, and fat is a key driver of a global obesity crisis, with more than 1 billion people living with the condition and an estimated 8 million early deaths every year due to the associated health problems like diabetes and heart disease, World Health Organization data shows. Yet governments have struggled to introduce the policies to curb the epidemic. Currently, only 43 World Health Organization member states have any kind of front of package labeling, either mandatory or voluntary. The United Nations agency told Editorial, despite evidence showing labels can affect buying behavior. The World Health Organization began work on the draft guidelines, which have not been previously reported in 2019. They aim to support consumers in making healthier food-related decisions. Catherine Engelhardt, a scientist in the Nutrition and Food Safety Department of the World Health Organization, told Reuters by email. A public consultation on the guidelines closed on October 11, and the finalized version will be released on early 2025. A previous highway to salvation in the Himalayas. It is a matter of the concern that such massive projects are getting the go-ahead without any scientific assessment, especially in an unstable and fragile region such as the Indian Himalayas. There is growing scientific evidence that the Char Dham highway project will have catastrophic consequences for the mountain ecology. The 900-kilometer-long, 12-meter-wide two-lane Char Dham highway, projected to boost religious tourism or to Fort Shrine, will end up as an endeavor with the catastrophic consequences for the mountain ecology. The conclusions of a scientific paper written recently by a group of authors led by Jürgen May of the Institute of Environmental Science and Geography, University of Potsdam, Germany, confirmed the worst fears expressed by the experts. This supposedly all-weather road project at an outlay of 12,000 crore rupees was initiated despite intense opposition by environmental organizations in Uttarakhand who called it unscientific. The Hindu newspaper to host a webinar on the use of artificial intelligence in the education. Experts will engage with the webinar participants and answer their queries on how best to use artificial intelligence. Tips, tools, and ethical guidelines will be discussed. The Hindu will host a webinar on the use of artificial intelligence in education at 5 p.m. on Saturday, October 19, with a focus on tips, tools, and ethical guidelines that students, teachers, parents, and education policymakers should keep in mind. The panel features Arun Tangerala, a professor at the Robert Bosch Center for Data Science and Artificial Intelligence at the IIT Madras, and S. Anand, CEO of Kramaner, a data analytics, a company with a focus on generative artificial intelligence solutions. The experts will engage with the webinar participants and answer their queries on how best to use artificial intelligence tools, from ChatGPT style large language models to data analysis and visualization apps to adaptive feedback tools, to enhance teaching, learning, and research and assessment, and to prepare the students for future careers where artificial intelligence will have an impact. At last, there's a famous quotation by a famous philosopher who's well known for his well name, Rabindranath Tagore. Birth anniversary 7 May 1861 up to 7 August 1941. Was a Bengali poet, writer, playwright, composer, philosopher, social reformer, painter of the Bengal Renaissance. He reshaped Bengali literature and music as well as the Indian art with the contextual modernism in the late 19th and early 20th century. Author of the profoundly sensitive, fresh, and beautiful poetry of Gitanjali in 1913, Tagore became the first non-European and the first lyricist to win the Nobel Prize in Literature. Tagore's poetic songs were vivid as spiritual and mercurial, where his elegant prose and the magical poetry were widely popular in the Indian subcontinent. He was fellow of the Royal Asiatic Society, referred to as the Bard of the Bengal. Tagore was also known by the sobriquets Gurudev, Kobi Guru, and Biswa Kobi. Tagore modernized Bengali art by spurning rigid classical forms and resisting linguistic structures. His novels, stories, songs, dramas, and essays spoke to topics political and personal. Gitanjali, Song Offering, Goda, Feared Face, and Garibari, The Home and the World are his best known works, and his verse, short stories, and novels were acclaimed or penned for their lyricism, colloquialism, naturalism, and unnatural contemplation. His compositions were chosen by the two nations as the national anthems, India's Jana Gana Mana and Bangladesh's Amar Sonhar Bangla. The Sri Lankan national anthem was also inspired by his work. His song Banglar Mati Banglar Chol has been adopted as the state anthem of West Bengal. Rabindranath Tagore says a very famous quotation. He says that the highest education is that which does not merely give us information, but makes our life in harmony with all existence. Okay, thank you.